20th, 2024 meeting of the Andalusia City Council to order and ask you to stand and join Council Lady, I'm sorry, couldn't get it out right. Council Lady Griffin to lead us in the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
I want to say, Lord, we're praying tonight for the Galvin family. Minister to them. Oh, Lord, I beg you to hear our supplications. Do not let our words fall on deaf ears. Let us come to you each meeting with hearts full of joy for you. You are the Most High God. And everything we have come from, you bless it so that we can bless others. Let us always look to you for every provision. Let us each be an open vessel filled with wisdom, praying others might know your saving grace. Love you, Lord. Attention. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Make sure Okay, welcome everyone to our second meeting in August. Remind everyone that we meet on the first and third Tuesday of each month. And we start with our workshop upstairs at about 5:30, and most of the time come down here for our regular session at 6 o'clock. Invite everyone who has an interest in their city government to come and join us, and we welcome you to come and be a part of this. Members of the council, you have before you the minutes of our meeting held August the 6th for consideration.
Mayor, I make a motion we approve the minutes as presented of the August 6, 2024 meeting.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Mount to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Powell. Hearing that, any further discussion, questions, or comments concerning the minutes? Hearing none, then all in favor of approving the minutes as presented, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign, and those are approved. Thank you for that. No unfinished business. Under new business, we have the appointment of some members of some of our committees that are due to be filled. One is the, let me get my stuff straight here. It's the Housing Authority, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. We have a lady who has been working on this authority for several times, and she'd like to be reappointed. Because her term is coming up. Melissa Leslie, and she, as I said, has been a good member of the Housing Authority, and I would recommend to you that we reappoint Melissa Leslie to another term. Do we have a motion and a second to that effect?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we reappoint Melissa Leslie to the Housing Authority.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Powell. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nix. Any further discussion, questions, or comments, or nominations? Hearing none, all in favor of appointing Melissa Leslie to another term on the Housing Authority, please indicate by raising your right hand, saying aye. 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 Any opposed, the same. And that is carried unanimously. The next item is an appointment to the Board of Zoning Adjustments. This has been held by Mr. Steve Grissett. Steve has been, as I said, has been a member of the Board of Zoning Adjustments. His term is running out. It's a 3-year term, and he has expressed an interest in serving another term. So I recommend, and we don't have any other nominations or applications for that. So I recommend to you that we reappoint Steve Grissett for another term on the Board of Zoning Adjustments. Do I have a motion for that?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we reappoint Steve Grissett to the Board of Zoning Adjustments.
All right, Mr. Powell makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nix. Any further discussion, questions, or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of appointing Steve Grissett for another term on the Board of Zoning Adjustments, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign, and that carries. And I thank you for that. The next item is an ordinance, is a first reading of an ordinance amending our garbage and trash collection and landfill fees. This will be the first reading of this. It'll be a $5 increase per month for the hobo pickups, and similar increases for the other items contained in this ordinance. Again, it's been, I think, about 8 years, 6 years, something like that. John, how long has it been?
2017.
All right, well, it's been 7 years. 7 years since the last time these fees were adjusted. And of course, we know what's happened in cost in 7 years when you consider the cost of equipment, cost of fuel, the cost of maintenance, all the costs related to this business have gone up since then significantly more than what we are proposing to increase the fees by. Again, this will be the first reading of the ordinance. We will not take it up tonight, but it is, we will be able to vote on it at our next meeting if we choose to. The next item is an ordinance rezoning 1103 River Falls Street, Andalusia. This is a first reading, be a rezoning to a commercial, is that the right language I'm using, Andy? Commercial, or be, what it? All right, the rezoning will be to B3. It's been residential.
Yes.
And the area around it is all commercial. So the Planning Commission has already met about this and studied it and they recommend to us to rezone that. We will not, this will be a first reading of this ordinance tonight, and we'll take it up at our next meeting. The next item is to rezone 1508 East 3 Notch. The same thing, rezone that to B3. Again, the Planning Commission has met. This is consistent with all of our plans and all of our designs for our city. Is the best use for this property to be rezoned B3. Zoning, the Planning Commission recommends it to us. And again, it's the first reading. We won't take it up tonight. And then we have a resolution, 2024-39, abatement of nuisance properties. That is a property that's located in, let me find the paperwork on it. There's several properties. I'm just going to read them off here. 310 Powell Circle, 603 Carlton Street, 605 Carlton Street, and 302 Powell Circle. All of these properties are being cited for growing weeds and grass and debris type cleanup. And so if you pass this resolution, you will authorize our folks to get out there and get it cleaned up. And there's some other potential activity that may be taken on these properties in the future, but we'll have to do that later on. All right, we have a motion by Ms. Griffin to approve the resolution 2024-39 2024-39, abatement of nuisance properties on the properties that I just read out to you.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Mayor.
All right, we have a second by Mr. Nix. Do we have any further discussion, questions, or comments concerning this resolution? Hearing none, then all in favor of approving the resolution as presented, please indicate by raising your right hand, saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, the same, and that is unanimous. Thank you for that. Resolution number 2024-40 is adopting the right of use assets and amortization policy out of the GASB. I recommend to you that we adopt this resolution. This is something that's handed down to businesses and schools and municipalities on a way to handle the accounting matters related to certain properties. So I recommend to you that we approve it to get in line with the GASB requirement.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution 2024-40, adopting the right of use assets and amortization policy as recommended by GASB.
All right, we heard the motion by Mr. Powell to adopt the resolution. Do we have a second?
I will second that, Mr. Mayor.
All right, second by Mr. Boswell. Any questions, comments, statements about this before we vote on it? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand, saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, the same? And thank you for that. Our next item is Human Resource Resolution, Human Resource 2024-003. And this is a resolution to amend our human resource plan in certain matters to bring them up to current conditions is that those positions are laid out in the resolution having to do with what is required to carry out the job of those positions and what is necessary to be successful in them and what the pay is and so forth and so on. This is something that we do from time to time to bring our work plan into order and up to date rather than waiting 5 or 6 or 10 years before we do it. We do it all along. So that's what this resolution does.
Mayor, I make a motion that we adopt HR 2024-003, amending job classification.
All right, had a motion by Mr. Mount. Do we have a second?
Mr. Mayor, I second that.
All right, do we have a second? Any further discussion, questions, or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand, saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, the same? And thank you for that. Our next item is resolution number 2024-41, approving the purchase of a HVAC system for the Andalusia Public Library to replace an old worn-out system that is no longer doing the job. The price is within that allowed by state to do without bidding, and the price on it is $29,900, and it would be money that would come from our a piece of equipment would be purchased from Rogers Refrigeration for that amount, and come from the 2022 series bonds, general obligation bonds that we adopted a couple of years ago. So the money's already in place to make this purchase. I recommend it to you. It's mighty hot over there in the library. We need some cool air.
Mr. Mayor, I make that motion.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Boswell. Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
Second by Mr. Mount. Any further discussion, questions, or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the resolution as presented, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign? And that carries, and thank you for that. Our last resolution is resolution number 2024-42. It is adopting transportation plan pursuant to the Rebuild Alabama Act, Act number 2019-2. This is the act that was passed when the new gas sales tax was passed several years ago, a couple of years, and it requires that every year or two, we have to present to the DOT what we've done with the money and how we've used it. And it has to be in compliance with that act. And that's what this will do if you adopt the resolution.
Mr. Mayor, pardon me, I move that we approve Resolution 2024-42, adopting the Transportation Plan for Rebuild Alabama Act 2019-2.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Powell. Do we have a second?
Mr. Mayor, I make that second.
Mr. Boswell will make the second. Any further discussion, questions, or comments? All in favor of approving the resolution as presented then, please indicate by raising your right hand and saying aye. Aye. Resolution is adopted. I thank you for that. I will just say that we started the meeting, our workshop this afternoon with some visitors from 4-H here in Covington County, and they made a nice presentation to us on the work that 4-H is involved in and how well Covington County is thought of in the state and other areas in the 4-H program that we have here, and something to be proud of as adults. Our young folks are doing a good job representing us in this organization that's been around a long, long time. So my hat's off to them and the folks that lead them and take care of them. Anything else to come before the council? Hearing nothing, we will stand adjourned.